That brings us to Prairie View A&M Coach Heishma Northern. Is Coach Northern on the call?
Yes, I am.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Your Panthers a big comeback victory over Texas Southern on Saturday. If you could kind of summarize that game and then a look ahead to this weekend as Arkansas Pine Bluff comes to town, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Well, first of all, I think it was a great team victory. If you look back at the game, we got great play from our special teams. We really struggled the first half on both offense and defense. We had a kickoff return for a touchdown. We had a field goal block that put the ball on the 2-yard line. We scored on the next play. That kept us in the ball game until we sort of found the rhythm. But like I say, it was a true team ball game with everything we had. We only had one practice outside last week due to the wildfires. Texas A&M was gracious enough to let us use their indoor facility one day, and I mean, it was one of those, we drove up there to practice, and on the way back we get a flat on one of the vans, but you know, our guys just kept going, and we just kept talking to them about stressing the tempo, and we knew it was going to be a fight, and we just talked to them, hey man, just keep flicking that jab out there and flicking that jab, and sooner or later a knockout punch is coming. You know, we didn't get the knockout punch, but you know, we won the fight. That's the way I look at it. But you know, that game is behind us. It was a very physical ball game. Can't say enough about the guys, in particular that fullback at Texas Southern and that offensive line did an outstanding job. But you know, like we tell our guys, you know, that rabbit in the bag, and we let them, you know, smell it and lick the blood off. For now it's time to get back in the briar patch. Hey, let's get back to work and do the small things right that we know that is going to lead to another victory if we do the small things right. But you know, it was a great week, a great team victory. That's all I can say. It was a team game.
What do you see in UAPB?
I see a couple of very nice-looking defensive linemen, Brandon Thurman and Damon Lee. Look like they coming off the ball pretty good, getting after it. And on offense, you know, it look like we're going to get a good dose of Adrian Moore. You know, we got to make sure we identify where he is on the field at all times. And then they do a good job of, you know, maybe – you know, faking it to him and getting it to somebody else. But, you know, I see an offense much like ours, a new system, a guy that's well-versed in the spread, that's calling the plays. Looks like a young quarterback over there playing. And, you know, I see a team much like ours, you know, traditionally pretty good on defense, you know, decent to above average on offense, but, you know, just trying to put together a good game plan.
We'll open it up for questions for Coach Northern from Prairie View A&M.
Coach Northern, I see Morrell, Pine Bluff commercial. You know, how was it that you guys only practiced one day due to the wildfires before you got to practice over at Texas Southern? You're trying to bounce back from this big loss to Bethune-Cookman, and I mean, how did you manage to put it all together, coming off a big loss in such a short time? You know, against I think it was your next door neighbor.
Yeah, and we actually went to Texas A&M and practice on Thursday. That was the only day we were able to get outside. They let us use their practice bubble. But I played for Coach Marino Chasm in college for 1 year, and he used to always say, we've done so much with so little for so long, we can do almost anything without nothing. And that's the way, you know, we going to deal with what we have. We may not have the best of facilities to begin with, but we going to make the best of what we have. We're not going to make any excuses. Even if we hadn't been outside at all last week, we still would have had to play that game. So, like I say, you know, rule number one in my program is no excuses. And that's the way we sort of roll with it. You know, like I say, it's a testament to our guys the way they fought. We could have easily been down 14 with 7 minutes left in the ball game, coming off an embarrassing defeat the week before. We could have easily, you know, say, hey man, this one over with. Let's start, you know, thinking about getting ready for next week. But like I say, the guys kept fighting. You know, special teams came up big again. Defense stepped up in offense, and then special teams came back and sort of sealed the deal for us with that last second field goal.
Individually, who has looked a lot better for you in this second game?
Well, if you saw the first game, the whole team, you know, it was one of those where a lot of guys stepped up. You know, we've been ravaged with injuries. Chris Townsend stepped up. Adrian Hamilton played an outstanding game on defense in spots. Ryan Love in spots. I think we have to take our hats off to our freshman center. We have another freshman starting at the right tackle spots. You know, without those guys, you know, it would have been a real long ball game. And we played with arguably one of the better offensive linemen, and James Deacle didn't even play in the ball game due to injuries. And I think we may have given up 1 or 2 sacks. We did get some pressure, but when it was all said and done, those guys up front stepped up, and we told them we were going to be able to run the ball in the fourth quarter. We may not physically beat people, but with the tempo that we play at, we're able to make some plays in the running game.
Coach, talk about the progress of your team from week 1 to week 2, and then to have the wherewithal to come back and beat your arch rival on their field.
Well, like I say, the biggest step or stride that they say teams make is in between week 1 and week 2, and when you way behind, we started way in the negative after that week 1 performance, the way we look at it, and then a step up, like I say, when you playing a rival, guys playing against kids that they grew up playing against and all that type of stuff, and you going to their home. I think they hadn't lost a game there in about 2 years, and it was sort of funny when you walk into the locker room. It was a smaller locker room. As soon as you walk in, there's a toilet with no door, a urinal right there, and it's just a different setting. You're getting taped in the showers, but like I said, the bottom line is we didn't make any excuses about what was going on. We just said, hey, stay in the game, stick to the game plan, and at the end of 4 quarters, let's see what happens. And that's truly what the guys did. Like I said, I don't think we made a few adjustments at halftime, but it wasn't wholesale. And after looking at that first game, the kids knew that, hey, there are some plays that are to be made on the field. It was last week, if we had an open receiver, we may have had a bad throw, or if we got a good throw, we may have had a drop or a poorly ran route, or we have a hole there and a running back slips down, or just those small things. So, like I said, it wasn't a wholesale scheme change, and myself and Coach Orlando talked about it. Me being a defensive guy per se, I may have said, hey, Coach, let's maybe try some of the things, and he'll come in, hey, Coach, let's just make sure we do what we do well. And like I say, we stuck with our game plan. We did what we do, or what we wanted to do well, which is running the inside zone, run the quarterback a little bit and make some plays. So it wasn't any wholesale change. We didn't come in and say, hey, man, that offense not working. We just did a little bit better in certain spots.
Coach, this is James Verrett. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you, James?
Doing fine. What was your emotion after the game, knowing that you got your first career win as a head coach?
I mean, it was sort of crazy because before I could get a chance to even shake Coach Ramsey's hand, it was media members, all over the place, and my family came to town. My wife is in the stands, and my dad, who really got me going in this coaching thing, was there, and just getting a chance to hug my brother on the sideline. And my sister, that was the biggest thing. And then getting a chance to get the trophy and have water poured on you and, get water splashed over the president of the university, that was real big. But like I told him, man, that trophy is for those players. It's not mine at all. But it's all about those kids fighting. But, I was definitely proud, and, it was a relief, sort of, that monkey off your back type of situation when, it's 7 minutes left and you're down 14 and, people in the stands probably hollering, hey, man, we had the wrong guy. We should have let that guy go with Coach Frazier. But it was definitely a relief more than anything. Just hey, man, it's over with. It's said and done.
What's the name of that trophy?
It's the Durley Knicks Traveling Trophy. It's sitting in my office now, but I'll quickly get it in the hallway back in the trophy case somewhere. But it just so happens to be sitting in